Hi guys, Will Vincent here with another one of our Pro Series 2013 interviews, taking a look at the teams and drivers that make up the 2013 Pro Series on iRacing. Today we have 4 members of Apex Racing UK. We have Alex Simpson, Jesper Pedersen, Lee Thompson and LJ Garnett. Now Alex, I'm going to come to you first because you are the team principal for Apex Racing UK. Just take a moment to explain to those listening where Apex Racing UK kind of came from.
Yeah, well, we started off as Apex Racing League, which predominantly was a console-based site, and a few of us wanted to dip our toes into sim racing world and saw the Drivers' World Championship and thought wouldn't it be a good idea to try and show them what we're capable of. So we signed up to iRacing, created a team a few seasons later, and slowly progressed up through the ranks. Got some drivers into the Pro Series license spots now, and last season Jesper was competing with Pierre as well in the World Championship. So basically how we started, and job sort of done, first target.
You kind of said a few drivers. Define a few, because at my count it's about 8 drivers.
Yeah, 8 now. So there's obviously the 4 here today. There's Pierre, Antoine as well. Obviously Antoine's had some great results in the World Championship this year as one of the Season 1 qualifiers. Lasse Brun Hansen. Trying to think of everybody else. Mike Goman as well. There we go. I'll get there eventually.
I was about to say, such a big team. I know how it is being a team principal myself. Sometimes you will forget 1 or 2 of them. It's okay, we'll let you off. But you kind of had to sit around twiddling your thumbs for 2 seasons because you got yourself that pro license at the end of 2013 season 1. And of course, you competed in 3 WCS races this year. We saw that on GlacierTV. But apart from that, you've really had to wait to get that opportunity to race in that series that you've been working hard to get to.
Yeah, it's been, like I say, it's been a long wait, but it's been quite an exciting time for me. I've been trying to build the team up. Obviously, I've managed to secure my license season 1, so I didn't have to worry about that. So, got a few new members on board, helped out through season 2 and season 3, learning all the different tweaks to the car. I'm building up my own knowledge, so I'm kept quite fresh there and excited by that, and happy that we managed to get a couple of drivers each season to get their black stripe.
Now, I'll talk to Lee next. Lee, you got your pro license in season 3, so you're one of the last drivers to have got that black stripe for 2013. How much pressure was there in that final season, which always is, despite being the summer and normally participation being down on iRacing, one of the most competitive times in not only the NASCAR side of things, but of course on your side in the Williams FW31?
Hi, Will. Yeah, I definitely did feel a lot of pressure. I mean, as you said, it was really competitive, but of course, on the flip side, it was, the best opportunity for getting pro license because we've already had 2 seasons of drivers being removed, if you like, having already got their pro license. So it was a kind of then or never, really. It's funny how quickly your expectations change as well. At the beginning of season 3, it was, I hope I can perhaps scrape into getting pro. And then with a couple of races left of the season, it was looking like I might conceivably have won the season. Didn't quite work out, came 3rd. And then same now in the Pro Series. It was initially my target was it'd be nice to qualify in a couple of rounds. And then as soon as I managed that, it's get some points and now we're just over halfway through the season. I'm going to be really quite disappointed if I don't manage to get into the WCS. It's been a decent start to the season.
Now, you, of course, having raced in season 3 straight into the pro, you've kind of been non-stop for almost 6 months now. Is that in some ways a bit of an advantage? Of course, you were in the era when the NTMV5 came out on the Williams, a complete change in the way they had to go about racing the car, building setups, etc. So is it an advantage being able to, keep going rather than almost having to take a bit of a break from racing to maintain safety rating, etc.?
You're right. I mean, I have run solidly in the F1 car since season 4, 2012. So I just haven't been fast enough in those previous seasons to get that pro license before. But You're right. Coming in without having a break definitely helps, and I think that really shows with Alex as well. As you said a minute ago, Alex qualified in season 1, and he was one of probably the only drivers to have qualified in that season 1 to continue racing near enough every week all season, and now it's paying dividends with him running third in the Pro Series. So if you really stay on top of a car, then it does make a difference with your time on track.
Now, LJ, I'll come to you next because you're in a very similar situation, getting that black stripe at the last opportunity in Season 3. Now, of course, running in the Pro Series as well. Pressure, again, for you in that Season 3 to get that black stripe?
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure, especially as it was, for the first 2 weeks, it was on its new tyre model 4 still, and yeah, I was frankly miles off pace on that tyre. Yeah, week 3, the new tyre model came out, and immediately, felt like I enjoyed driving on the tyre, and the car seemed a bit more fun at least. And yeah, some strong performances, some bad luck as well, but yeah, managed to scrape into it, and then joined Apex Racing in, well, the end of Season 3, so...
And you are now running in the Pro Series. You, unfortunately, are on the outside at the moment looking in. And, of course, we're about halfway through the season now. How much pressure is that on you now to drive differently, to go for getting more points to ensure you can get yourself into the top 25? Or is it just a case of you right now taking each race as it comes and just trying to bring the car home?
Well, obviously not running as much in Season 1 and 2. Season 3 was a steep learning curve, so then getting thrown straight into the Pro Series, it was always going to be tough. And likely I was just hoping I could qualify for a few rounds at least, but yeah, started out qualifying pretty much for every round I tried to, but just had really bad luck in the race. But in a way, it's quite nice being outside of the top 25 because there's no pressure of trying to hold that position. You're constantly trying to attack to get a bit more out of each race to get some points to get into the top 25. So it definitely pushes me along. Trying to get more points. So.
And I'll come to Jesper next because you have been a Pro Series driver since 2012 now. Of course, you have, as part of that, run in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series as well. But you're back running in the Pro Series for 2013, and it's not really going your way this time around.
No, not quite. I have been hit by really bad luck all season. Both technical problems, but also having a busy time outside sim racing. So yeah, it's not my season, but hopefully I will be back. Next year.
Are you thinking that there's any chance that you might still make the top 25, or do you think it's just a bit of a pipe dream now?
Well, I think there would be a chance if I raced in the weekend, but sadly I cannot race in the weekend, and therefore I doubt I got any chance left.
Well, I want to talk a little bit to you about outside of iRacing itself, because of course you were a GT Academy finalist this year, which is really blurring that line between virtual racing and real racing as well. How was that experience for you?
The experience in the GT Academy was really amazing. I came to Silverstone and never really raced a car before. I have been karting quite competitively this year, but nothing outside that. So trying to learn how to drive a car on such a famous track was quite amazing, and then also doing well was a bit of a surprise. But I really enjoyed the whole experience and meet some of the other guys from the World Championship.
Now, there have been a couple of people before that have raced not just 1 year, but 2 years in a row in GT Academy. Is it your intention to try and do that again 2014 and hopefully try and win it?
I think I will try to qualify, but since I have been to Silverstone finals, I cannot go there again, sadly. Otherwise, I would definitely try.
Very quickly, Alex, I want to ask you a question. In fact, I'll bring everyone in on this because you've got three different drivers in three different parts of the standings when it comes to the Pro Series. You, Alex, you're pretty much trying to compete for the championship right now. Lee, you're inside the top 25, but you're in the lower half of the top 25. And of course, LJ, you are on the outside looking in right now. How do you approach preparing for a race where each of you have got different things, in theory, to play for?
Yeah, I think, our approach this season has been very much, first to finish well, you've got to finish. And we've done a lot of race preparation this season. And if anyone has seen the hosted sessions on a Thursday or Friday night, we have probably 6 races in total over those 2 days that go up. So the team has plenty of chance to practice sort of race pace and consistency on the track. So it doesn't really matter, I think, where you are on the grid. As you've got to approach that race, you've got to get on that grid, and you know exactly the job that you've got to do and exactly what's going to hit you as far as the distance of the race and when we're going to pit. And we've got a few people that look at the strategies and things like that, so we know pretty much what we're going to do, and we're well prepared when we hit the grid. I think the priority really for all the drivers, and we all know it, is just that first couple of laps that can really make or break your race. And I think that's why LJ's had some of his bad luck. He's been very unfortunate in those early laps as well. Jesper as well involved last week. And I think Lee actually got some damage as well. So, that first lap is the key thing. And we practice a lot of starts through the week as well. So we try and get our starts as clean as possible. But it's not always the case with some of the others, unfortunately.
You made a point there about strategy. In fact, I'll ask you about this, Lee, because is it going to become a point in the season where you're going to instinctively consider other options of strategy to attempt to try and leapfrog drivers in a way that you might not be able to do necessarily on the track racing itself, in that effort to either secure or move up into the top 25?
Yeah, you're right. For myself, I'm feeling like I'm in that quite awkward position at the minute of do I just keep trying to play it pretty safe, which is really what I've done so far, and it's just barely is enough at the minute, or and when is that no longer going to be enough? If I can get one race and score some decent big points, it's done and dusted. So is it worth taking that taking that slight extra risk to do it? Whereas if I try and play it cautious and at the end of the season you miss out by a place or two, you're going to be looking back and wondering what you easily could have done. Unfortunately, I had that issue at Phillip Island where Phillip Island was probably my strongest pace of the season, and I could have easily been 6th or 7th in the results, it seems, and that would just have put me right in the comfort zone in my standings. But unfortunately, getting caught at the start line, it just if you play it cautious, start from the pit lane instead, perhaps I would have picked up a couple more points and ended up, and I would have been better. So it's easy to look in hindsight, but yeah, it's awkward with that strategy as we come towards the end of the season.
And LJ, you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier on, that being outside the top 25 in some ways actually make things easier for you because you just now have to attack. You don't necessarily need to worry defensively. Is that opening more doors for you when it comes to preparing for a race weekend and thinking about all the things that goes into a race?
Yeah, obviously it's a lot easier not having to look over your back and hope someone's going to take you out and stuff. Well, not take you out, should I say? Yeah, it just allows me basically to, there's no doubt I'm going to start on the grid on each one and then push as hard as I can. Whereas, the likes of Lee may be thinking, about starting from the pits and just making sure he finishes each race, which, yeah, it definitely helps. And yeah, definitely nice to be able to push all race and just basically try and get the best points finish possible, really.
And Alex, having a look at the standings, you are, say, 3rd right now. You are less than 20 points behind Alexei Usiakola in that battle for the championship, and you're only 6 points behind Tommy Nielsen. Are you thinking of the overall championship now that I think pretty much you are guaranteed entry for the WCS? Or is it just a case of still bringing the car home and hoping the points go your way at the end?
Well, at the start of the season, it was just all about getting that points to get the license. To find myself in with a shout, actually, at this stage, I'm quite surprised. I mean, I've had some bad luck of my own, so disconnects and first corner instance. So to be that close is quite a surprise. And I have to say, the mindset has changed, and I think regardless of wherever I am on the grid now, I will be starting on the grid, and I will be a little bit more attacking and perhaps defend a little bit harder than I usually have. I mean, I'm not really put up much of a fight at all this season because until I've got those points in the bag, I just didn't want anything to cause an accident or anything like that. So now that that's secure, I think now's the time to try and have a little push. I mean, it will be great to fight, say, Alexi and Tommy all the way to the end of the championship. I mean, they're great drivers. So's Ollie, Rocco as well, right behind. So it's going to be interesting. Season's really tight actually, and I think any one of say 5 or 6 drivers could still win it. So I'm certainly going to give it my best now from here on out and see what I can do.
And with just a couple of races left in the season, of course, a lot to play for. Just before we let you go, I want to talk about a couple of other things. Alex, unfortunately, I'm going to talk to you again. 2 things. First one, of course, you do all of the track guides every week for the Williams forum. How important do you think it's been the last year, kind of getting new drivers into racing the FW31? Because at times it kind of has been a bit stagnant participation-wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky car to drive ultimately, I think, and to set up. And you know, when anyone comes on and jumps straight in the car and uses, say, the iRacing default setups, it doesn't put the car into a particularly good light, I'm afraid to say. So yeah, I try and do everything I possibly can, and the team, we've got a lot of sort of ambitious plans for 2014 to try and really highlight the FW31 as, the kind of the great car it can be. I mean, I've had some fantastic races in there. I mean, yes, there's some shockers every now and again, but the community is actually really great there, and I'd like to see more people in it. So anything I can do, even at the moment, it's just the weekly post. I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm going to try and get a bit more information in there. And I know like I say, there's some plans from the team to start even creating like a setup shop and all sorts of stuff there. So now with the differences in weather, it kind of opens that up. So there doesn't need to be that such cloak and dagger stuff because, a Class A setup will be completely different to a pro setup now, so we can help out a little bit more. So definitely some of the secretive stuff is going to come down for 2014, and we're going to try and help out a whole load more and try and boost that community and get some official races throughout the week as well as just the weekend.
Do you think that actually the whole weather thing, in fact I want to talk about the weather in 2 different ways, and anyone can come in on this. Of course, there is now the varying weather from race to race in the Pro Series, the A-Class Series, and of course the WCS for 2014 as well. How much of a difference does that make to racing at a given racetrack? Of course, it is static weather per se, and you do know what it is in advance. But how much of a difference does that make? And back onto that kind of secrecy point, which has always been one of the hot topics, setups, especially in the top level series. Do you think that that difference will really break barriers down to allow more people to share information?
Well, I think it should do. I mean, certainly the guys that have been competing in the Class A from the team, they're running quite a different setup to what we're running. The aerodynamic balances are very, very different. Yes, they can work if they're similar, but when you've got a complete shift of wind direction and wind speed, the balance of the car is quite different, and it could be the difference from running say a high downforce with low wicker set to a high wicker set, and that once you start changing that, the setups are completely different. So yeah, I really hope that will help. Sort of everybody will be a bit more forthcoming with the sharing and things like that. So I mean, it's a good thing. Certainly enjoyed the weather. I mean, some people have moaned quite heavily about it, and I have to say the Williams does get affected quite a lot by some of the tailwind, and rightly so. I think some people have had a little moan because I think that's just emphasising some of the outlying issues that I think there's not a single person that wouldn't say that the Williams still just has. But if they can get those things dialed out, then I think we're going to have a great series in 2014.
Anyone else? I think I put them to sleep.
Just agreeing with Alex, basically. The weather definitely opened up how we had to change setups and stuff, and along with the tire changes, a lot of stuff changed on how we set up the car. Yeah, and I agree with some people. The weather does seem to have a bit of an effect, well, a bit too much of an effect on the FW31, but yeah, nothing you can't really deal with after some practice, so.
And my final question was about ARL TV. Of course, ARL TV are broadcasting the Pro Series for this season and really become one of the big five sim racing broadcasters on iRacing, along with PSR, Glacier, ETV, iRacing Brazil, etc. But how much fun is it actually broadcasting those races, and how much goes into the preparation, the broadcasting itself of it?
It's been a shame actually that we haven't been able to continue with all the broadcasts of the Pro, mainly because of a hardware failure and trying to scrap around for a broadcaster. I think we're a victim of our own success there a little bit, with most of the people who do it are actually racing in the Pro Series, so that's been a bit of a struggle. But I mean, I thoroughly enjoy the broadcasting, whether it be I'm just doing the camera work or on the Saturday mornings when I do the V8 Supercar series that we often broadcast. And yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it, and I think I can speak for most, but Lee's here as well, and he does a fair bit of commentating as well.
Yeah, the commentary is definitely an interesting one for me. It's something I've never done anything like that before. Never much of a, I don't know, public speaker or anything that you might imagine. But I got into it quite quickly, I think, and I felt quite at ease with it, and I kind of felt like I understood what was required from me. So no, commentating is definitely something I enjoy, and we'll be looking forward to doing more as we progress into next season.
The interesting thing, we've started to do a few more like reviews as well through the sponsors and things like that. So that's something else where we've gone on site and reviewed the products. Like we've been to Leo Bodnar, and then we also went to Base Performance as well. So reviewed their simulators there. So they've got GP2 and an Aston Martin GT Sim. So that was a good fun day. We've actually got to finish that review off, and that'll be going up shortly. But yeah, so that's something else that we're sort of doing. It's sort of almost bridging the gap between the sim and the real world as well with that. So it's great fun that we've been invited to do that stuff.
I have lied to you. I've got two more questions. First one, would you like to give a shout out to any of your sponsors? Second one, where do you think, on the assumption that you do make it into the WCS next year, how do you think you're going to perform?
Okay, yeah, just to give a shout out to the sponsors then, GT Omega. Leo over GT Omega has been supporting us right from our very early days at Apex Racing League. So yeah, big shout out and thanks to him. He's been backing us all this time. And then another Leo from Leo Bodnar as well, and Sim Steering. Yeah, they've hooked us up quite a lot this year, so they deserve a special mention, as well as Precision Sim Engineering and Sim Garage.
And my other question?
I think I'm going to target a top 10. I'm looking at the competition there, and the competition in this Pro Series. I think it would be nice for my first season if I could get a top 10 finish. I think if depending on what changes the car goes, if it suits the style, because I expect we're going to have another update come next season. If it gels with me, then maybe we might try and push for, say, top 5, being really ambitious.
Lee, LJ?
Well, I think for me, just on behalf of putting words in everyone else's mouth, on behalf of the team, I want to really thank Alex for being the real driving force behind this team. I mean, he does the vast majority of the work on the setup side of thing, on the broadcasting, on getting hold of sponsors. Alex is the one that does all of that work, and we all have our little contributions here and there, whether it's my commentary or people doing skins and things, but we're almost fortunate to be along for the ride with Alex's sort of grand plan and his planned domination of 2014 in iRacing.
You never answered the question.
Yeah, where are you going to finish, mate? In a DWC?
WCS.
If I get into WCS, I think I'll be struggling to qualify. But of course, I said that for Pro Series, so who knows? But if I can get on a grid in a couple of races and have the privilege of driving against Gregor Hutu and such like, I'll be more than happy. But I would just be happy getting on the grid.
LJ?
Yeah, again, I'll agree with Lee. I'll thank Alex. Since I joined the team at the end of Season 3, just the amount of work that's gone into the setup and strategies and all that, and, making sure all the hosted sessions are up for practice and all that. Yeah, got to thank him for that. So, and as for the second question, if by some miracle I do get in, same as Lee, really, just see how many I can qualify for again. And, if I don't get in, just gun for pro again in Season 1 and 2, so...
Well, good luck in the next 6 months to a year or so. Apex Racing UK looking to take iRacing by storm in the 2014 iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. For more information about the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series, head over to wcs.iracing.com. And for more information about iRacing, head over to iracing.com right now, when you can get yourself half price off your first 3 months membership. From Will Benson, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Alex, to Jesper, to Lee, and LJ from Apex Racing UK. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.